Hi guys. So a topic that's been coming up for me more and more lately is it's fat loss and how to manipulate different factors in order to achieve fat loss. And I kind of have avoided this topic for a really long time, and I've always focused around like performance. How lifting heavy weights or doing a pull-up. But I'm realizing that more and more lately that this is a huge source of frustration for many women who are stuck well above an ideal weight for them, and they feel very like dejected and fed up and confused about about fat loss, about nutrition, and about health in general. And so this is something that I've started to want to address more and help more women kind of get that freedom from food. And I've kind of put together a list of 8 kind of fat loss tips, which I hate the way that sounds, but I'm hoping this list is going to sound a bit different from most lists that you'll hear. And hopefully there'll be something, at least something in there that you hadn't thought of and you hadn't thought to address. So the first tip, and they're kind of in order of importance, but not 100%. The first tip is emotional eating and comfort eating. If you eat because you're bored or stressed or sad or lonely or irritated or angry or anxious or nervous because you're in a group of people that you don't know, if you're eating for any reason other than physiological hunger, this is often a really big cause of weight gain or maintaining a weight that you don't desire. And really, like, to anyone who's like dealing with emotional eating or comfort eating of any kind, I really recommend dealing with those emotions in a way that doesn't involve food. And this can be a really long journey in itself, and it's something that you may need to see a counsellor for, or a life coach, or join a women's circle, or go to retreats, learn meditation. There are lots of ways that we can learn how to deal with our emotions, but we never want to deal with them with food. And as long as you do deal with your emotions with food, weight loss is probably always going to be an issue for you. So it's really important to find avenues to deal with any frustrations, any difficulties that you're dealing with emotionally, to be able to even go down any deeper layers with food. Secondly, similar but different, the undereating, overeating cycle. I see many women whose goal is to not eat, or to eat as little as possible throughout the day in particular, and they get to about 4 p.m. Maybe later in the evening, and they just crash and they eat a huge meal that makes up all the calories that they would have eaten during the day anyway. They're just so hungry that they can't hold back. They don't feel full. Some women manage to keep going for a number of days, and then they end up in a binge, or they end up in just like a big meal that then turns into, a heavy weekend, and then, a heavy start to the week. And then they're like, okay, now I'm going to start again. Sometimes even for weeks at a time, this continues. And then they're like, right, I'm going to start again. But again, try and cut their calories down to 1,000 calories a day, or try not to eat during the day, or try to eat very small amounts. And this is often a recipe for disaster. You want to kind of tinker around with the amounts that you eat to make sure that you're eating enough to not feel ravenous by the evening, but not eat so much that you feel sleepy or too full or uncomfortable or anything else. So often The undereating is the cause of the overeating, and women think like, oh, like as long as I'm undereating, like I'm doing good, but like it's just the overeating that I've got to get rid of. Whereas actually you have to address the undereating as well, this feeling of being empty, or this feeling of like not eating as being some kind of goal or some kind of achievement. We need to like wean ourselves off of that, because it often sets us up for disaster in the long run. Number 3, are you exercising enough? I made a post recently about this. Most women overestimate the role that exercise plays in weight loss in terms of calories out, the calories that you burn in the actual session. That's not actually the real reason to exercise, and it's not the real way that exercise helps with fat loss. The real reasons to exercise are for any reasons that are valid for you, but what we can really get out of exercise is huge health gains, huge fitness gains, and we can, using the right kind of training, like resistance training, we can build muscle and shape certain parts of the body. We can build power and strength for athletic performance. It improves our health massively. There are lots of reasons to exercise. It improves our sleep, it improves our mood, but there are lots of reasons to exercise, but all of these reasons then have an indirect effect on ultimately how many calories we consume, or how many calories we expend. Just for example, if you kind of exercise and you feel better afterwards, you're going to make better choices for food. You're more likely to make better choices for food throughout the day. And so this is a really important factor in weight loss, but in a really indirect way. It's not just about the calories that you burn. If you eat better throughout the day and eat like less calories, or say no to something that you shouldn't be eating, or say no to something that you don't want because you're still buzzing off of the exercise, ultimately you're going to take less foods in, which I don't need to tell you why that's going to contribute. You're going to take less calories in, which I don't need to tell you why that will contribute towards fat loss in the long run. Number 4, are you exercising too much? Because, it's not like, it's not just once or twice have I heard someone say to me, I run for an hour and a half in the morning, and then I go and do this in the afternoon, and then I go and do that, and I'm not losing any weight. And it's like, okay, you're probably doing way too much. The goal isn't to exercise more and more and more. Many people will, if you're really unfit and you haven't been exercising at all, working out once a week might be a really good starting point, and then upping it to twice a week, and then upping it to 3 times a week as you get used to it over a number of months. It's also something that you hear around beginners, is that they'll say, like, I started a program and I'm going to the gym 5 days a week, and This is a recipe for disaster. Don't spin your wheels. Don't wear yourself out. Build it up gradually. There's nothing wrong with training, 5 days a week if you build up to it and your body can cope with that. But if it's just gonna kill you, then the chances are you're just doing you're going to be doing way too much, and you're not going to be getting the improvements that you want to be getting. And if you're already doing shit tons, you're likely to just be kind of doing the wrong type of exercise, which we're going to look at in a bit. Are you sleeping well? And are you sleeping enough? This is number 5. So many people see sleep as a luxury, and they go to work for 9-10 hours a day, come home, they go out with friends, and they want to get an exercise in as well, and they're only sleeping 6 hours a night, 5 hours a night. When you don't sleep well, when you don't sleep enough, I know for me, my hunger is just through the charts, and through the roof, off the charts. I just crave dense carby foods, and this is gonna be detrimental. You really need to check in and just make sure you're sleeping enough. And everyone needs a different amount of sleep, but are you sleeping enough for you? And be honest with yourself, because it could really be holding you back. Number 6, linked but different. Are you stressed? Because stress, raises cortisol levels, or it's because of raised cortisol levels, and has a ton of different impacts on the body, and can really hinder any kind of weight loss efforts. So I'd really encourage you, similar to emotions, I'd really encourage you to check in with that. And if you're stressed out, maybe you don't actually need to take up more exercise or even change your diet. Maybe you need to learn how to relax, and that might look like acupuncture or meditation or therapy, or just taking a hot bath and going for a long walk, turning your phone off after a certain time. There are lots of things that can help us de-stress. And I would encourage you to look into those. If you're stressed out and unhappy, weight loss shouldn't be on the cards at the moment. Number 7, are you doing the right kind of exercise? I sometimes hear this as well, women who are, doing hours and hours and hours of cardio and they're not getting anywhere. Whether it's running is usually what it is. They're running hours a week and they don't see how they can run anymore. But they've kind of plateaued with their weight loss efforts. Maybe you need to change it up. Maybe you need to be doing some resistance training, or maybe you're doing resistance it works the other way too. Some women I know get into resistance training and they don't like the way that it affects their body. They find that they put on a lot of mass and it doesn't suit them, and they're actually more suited to yoga and fast walking. I found the opposite for myself, that doing yoga and doing kind of lots and lots of aerobic exercise, I never got anywhere. But as soon as I started doing strength training, my body changed. And I'm not the slimmest coach around, I'm not the skinniest coach around, but I'm in the best shape that I've ever been in my life. And discovering a form of exercise that, 1, you can commit to, and 2, that actually makes changes in your body is a real game changer. And there will be some differences between people, but normally it's women who are trying the kind of aerobic stuff. They're doing 2 hours of aerobic training 4 times a week, and they're not getting anywhere. They're not burning fat, and they're not building the body that they want, and they simply need to just get in the gym and lift some weights and do some resistance training. And number 8, finally, are you eating too many calories? Most of the time when we're not losing weight, it's simply because the number of calories in matches the number of calories out, or is more than the number of calories that are coming out of us, that we're burning through exercise and through daily living. It's just as simple as that sometimes. And some women massively underestimate how much they're eating, and they're just taking in too many calories. Using an app like MyFitnessPal can be really, really good for that, although it's really important to have a basic understanding of how calories work in the body first, and what that means. And also to have a basic understanding of nutrition and the balance of what you need to be eating. Notice that nothing of really what I've said is about what you're eating. It is possible to be skinny living off of chocolate bars. That's not what I'm promoting, obviously. But there's a lot of emphasis sometimes on nutrition, as in eat this because it raises your metabolism, or don't eat this because it slows your metabolism down. And that's just kind of a little bit it's a bit unfair to make those kind of sweeping comments it's not entirely true, but it does play on people's insecurities and on people's lack of knowledge around how food and how our metabolisms work. A pretty safe rule to go by is 80-20. Like, try and eat fresh, good quality, natural foods 80% of the time, and 20% of the time just like eat a burger or some ice cream or whatever. But like, you can totally combine the not so great foods for you into a healthy diet, and you can still lose weight. You don't need to eat clean and eat perfectly to lose weight. And that's a controversial statement nowadays, because everyone talks about clean eating, but ultimately the best diet is the one that you can stick to. And we don't do this. We don't diet in a vacuum. So give yourself a fighting chance and have your non-negotiables. Allow yourself to have some of the things that you enjoy, and don't make life impossible for yourself. Lots of people love to say that you can't out-exercise a bad diet, and that diet is absolutely key in weight loss. But I like to say that you can't out-eat a bad lifestyle. It doesn't matter how good your diet is. If your lifestyle sucks, if you're not sleeping, if you're really stressed, if you're unhealthy, if you're not exercising, we're not getting a full picture of like health and nutrition and vitality. So just keep that in mind. Nutrition is totally important, but there are other factors involved in fat loss, and we need to be aware of all of them. We're whole human beings with a lot of things going on with the mind, with emotions, and with a lot of things that affect the way our bodies work outside of just food. So make sure that you're covering all of your bases and looking at all the different factors that could be holding you back. I hope this was helpful. Any questions or comments, write below, and please subscribe to my page. Hope to see you again soon. Bye.